Welcome to another edition of Len's Burning Bush. I am Len Harvey. Before I bring on my guest for the week, I want to talk about what's really burning my bush. So we have the big game coming up, approaching rapidly, and the hometown Cincinnati Bengals are actually in this game. I have many friends who have season tickets and have decided, hey, they're going to go to L.A. to see this game at SoFi Stadium in L.A. So I wanted to see how expensive this actually was going to be. And I figured, it can't be that bad, right? Well, you got to look at this because it is bad. The 2020 Super Bowl ticket prices started out at $3,272.50 per person. Now, that I don't know where they came up with that number, but already that is getting to the point of being a little too high. Now, depending on the seat location and the package details, listings even went up to $14,876 a person just a couple of days ago. And by Wednesday, the price was about $4,900, giving the average price on StubHub, according to StubHub, was $88.69. Now, that would be the highest average for secondary market tickets in the 56-year history of the Super Bowl, so that it ties the larger ticket trends being expensive on a historic level. And I don't know where people are getting the money for this. So Super Bowl 56 tickets are the most expensive, as we talked about. Now, according to Sportico, tickets for top VIP suites were, get this, $100,000. Now, I know it's a VIP suite, and the average person is not going to do that, but still, does it come with 3 bedrooms and a bath? That's what I want to know for that kind of money. So CBS News reported the tickets on StubHub and Ticketmaster started out about $5,000 after fees, and then some of them, if you were on the sideline, around the sideline or the 50-yard line for the Bengals, was about $50,000. Now, by comparison, a few years ago in Atlanta, the Patriots and the Rams played, that was about $2,900 to $4,300, which, again, overpriced as well. But it wasn't until the mid-1990s that the Super Bowl started to be this pricey. So I started to kind of look back and see what these prices were and see, why people are spending this money. So we're going to go back to 1967 is when the Super Bowl started, right? And of course, there wasn't the interest that there is today with the level of tickets, but the average price was $12 per ticket. And if you looked at inflation, it was about $106, which at that time seemed a lot, but it was okay. So what I did was, rather than go through every year because I'd bore you to death and you'd be sitting there looking to turn the channel, but in 2000 comparison, the ticket was $325, which is adjusted to about $541 today. Now that I would do if I was a big fan of the Bengals and it was $325, I would do that. Or $541 even. I would try, because again, even though you've been saving money for 33 years or so to go to this game, you're still not going to be able to afford these bigger prices, because in 2010, the price went up to $1,000, and that was adjusted to about $1,297. So this is getting a little bit out of control, and I think the average fan is not going to be able to go. So with that being said, maybe they should just come to my Super Bowl party, the 21st annual one coming at my house. So if you're in the area, make sure you stop by and partake in some wings and some good food. With that being said, it's time to bring on my guest for the week. She is an actress, writer, producer. She's also an on-air radio host, or she's been. Let's welcome for the first time to Len's Burning Bush, Carol Beaugard. And Carol, I'm going to put you up in the big screen here so we can see you streaming. Hello, Carol. How are you?
Hi, Len. Hi, everybody.
Well, it's good to see you. It's been a long time. We last saw each other sometime, maybe when the Super Bowl prices were better, a little bit ago, right? We did work at WFDU in Teaneck, New Jersey, and I had Paul Butler on a couple of weeks ago, who was one of my hosts as well. And we couldn't figure out when I started, whether it was 93 or I think it was 91 as I look back at it. And I remember you had a program, I think you had it. Did you have it early on Thursday or was it Wednesday morning? I can't remember. The Sunrise Saloon, wasn't it?
Sunrise Saloon, yeah. And I think it was Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to remember. But anyway, I remember doing the newscast with you. And that was my first time ever being on the air. And that was, so between you and Paul, you trained me to be better, and I appreciate that. So thank you for that. But what are your thoughts? Are you going to watch the Super Bowl? I kind of went on a rant about prices, which it just makes me crazy that the poor fans have to spend thousands of dollars to watch this game.
It's true. We are absolutely going to watch it. I mean, my husband is famous for his Super Bowl parties, and we don't do just regular food. It's not the wings and popcorn. No, he throws Super Bowl parties with full out gourmet menus. He does these amazing shrimp things. He makes like special sauces. People bring over filet mignon. I mean, it is like a gastronomic Super Bowl, and then we all, celebrate the games. And I have to say, I'm excited this year because come on, those championship games, every single one, those were probably the best football games I've ever seen in my life. Everything right down to the last second, right?
I would agree with you. I think it's amazing. And one thing that I noticed, so I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. I've been for many, many years. Okay. And, started in the 70s and worked their way. But, when I moved to Cincinnati in 2001, of course, everybody hates me because I'm a Steeler fan. But it's kind of funny because I never really thought much, the whole Bengal thing. It was nice. I figured, I can have another team to root for within the division and go to the games and whatever. But it turns out, there's a big hatred. So it moved a little bit differently. Right. But what was kind of interesting is there was always that little back and forth between Bengals and Steeler fans, and Steelers obviously had won some Super Bowls and it was a whole big to-do. So what was interesting is I went, I didn't watch the first couple of games out. I watched them at home. But the last game against Kansas City, which you talked about, the last second stuff, I watched that one with friends, all Bengal fans. And I was in a bar with all Bengal fans. I mean, it was packed. And what was interesting was when the last second happened, when they won and they kicked the field goal, I saw people crying. I mean, it was like, oh my God. At that moment, I felt like a reporter that I realized what they had been struggling with. And I felt like I've been spoiled because my teams have won. This is different. And I went around to everybody and I said, congratulations, you deserve it. This has been 33 years of, waiting to get back to the Super Bowl. And it's just so amazing to see, and the emotions, and they're just normally a lot of them would come to my party, but they're having their own kind of deal. And I'm like, you know what?
And
you deserve
so. They deserve to celebrate. They do. I'm a baseball girl. I grew up going to Yankee Stadium, loved the Yankees. And I remember when the Chicago Cubs finally, got the series, just being so thrilled for them. It was the same thing. Now, my husband is football. My husband says if you cut him, he bleeds Giants blue. So he's been a major football fan. And since we've been together, which is since 2008, now I love football also. And he's very proud of me because I understand the game. I even do the signs of the penalties before the refs do it. And I was just astounded by the quality of the games. And I mean, just the fervor that each team played with, and the outcome. And I traveled across the country on a Broadway national tour. And so I went to Pittsburgh, I went to Chicago, I went to Cincinnati, I went to Los Angeles and Seattle. I like the Seahawks too. I love their uniforms. So, and I think Pat Carroll, Central Casting, if they were looking for a football coach, Pat Carroll is the quintessential looking coach. So I mean, I really have, I love each city and each team because of the people that I met in each city. So this Super Bowl, I don't really have a favorite. It's going to be like each play. I'm going to root for the Bengals. I'm going to root for the Rams. I love them both. So I say to everybody out there, good luck and congratulations, to whoever the victor is, because, in football, it just comes down to the last second.
It
Wow.
does. You
It was,
hope, and it makes it a great game, and they've
oh
been
my
great.
gosh,
The
really?
kickers have been wonderful. The
Yeah,
Bengals kicker from
special
Florida,
teams, special teams. They win Super Bowls.
they do.
Absolutely.
They do. Now, speaking of the Super Bowl, there's going to be a great halftime. I'm actually, it's funny. You look at some of the halftime performances, and it was the weekend was or I think last year or the year before. I don't know. They all run into each other, and I was thinking to myself, going, I like the weekend. I mean, he does a good job, but as a performer, and it was a little bit lacking for me. But this year, we've got Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem. They're going to set the stage under Hamish Hamilton, who's the director. And I'm just excited about this. I think it's going to be Snoop just bought Death Row Records. He's all excited. I think you always see Snoop everywhere, but this is going to be exciting and fun for me, I think.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, my goodness, some of the best performers ever. And I mean, the halftime show, I never realized, before all of these Super Bowl parties, how exciting, not only the game, but that the halftime shows were. And yeah, we're going to be in for something spectacular, I hope. Yeah.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. You put all those major performers on stage together. I get excited. I like an all-star kind of cast. I always liked even TV shows growing up when they would all get on stage and perform and sing stuff, because a lot of them all can sing, every one of them. And you always find, kind of interesting, kind of like my obsession with the movie Pitch Perfect. I love those, the singing on it, but it is going to be a great halftime show. What about the Super Bowl commercials? What are we going to, do you sit there? Do you watch? I mean, everybody gets quiet in the Super Bowl party. You're going to watch the commercials?
I love the commercials. I was very excited because my first national television commercial premiered during the AFC Championship game. I'm starring as the grandmother in The Reyes. It's a CBS promo for the show.
Hold on 1 second. One second. How could you be a grandmother? That's some acting right there. Right away, I give you. You should get an award for that. But go ahead.
Thank you, Glenn. But my goodness, the commercials, they're so exciting. And I have to say, my favorites, of course, are with the Clydesdale horses, the Budweiser commercials, with the puppy especially. And I remember the commercial that they did with the Clydesdales in memorial to the 9/11 site, that it aired, I believe, only once, where the Clydesdale horses bowed, to the 9/11 site. That was so emotional. But the Clydesdales with the puppy, those are my absolute favorite. But I'm really looking forward to, there's a lot of exciting commercials coming out this year, with celebrities like Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen, I know, are going to do a funny one. And I can't wait to watch them. I think they're going to be great.
Yeah, Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen are doing, they're preparing for a wedding in a Lay's commercial. They're going to be doing one. We're also going to see Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, I don't know if you know, she has her candles that she made. I won't get into details how she made them, but she's going to have it where in an Uber Eats commercial, she's going to eat one of them. So that's going to be interesting. And then Mila Kunis and Demi Moore, who both were with Ashton Kutcher, are going to be talking about kind of stuff that they have in common on an AT&T commercial. I cannot wait for that one. I think that's going to be fantastic. I love Demi Moore all throughout, and Mila Kunis is great. Have you ever seen Bad Moms? Did you like that movie? One of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all of the commercials, and Doritos, the car commercials, they just, they're so funny. It's really, really exciting. I mean, again, going back to how you opened your show, crazy money being spent, for these spots, and crazy money making it prohibitively expensive for average folks like you and me to go and see the Super Bowl. But hey, that's why I sit on my couch and watch on my TV and enjoy every second. And the hard part is that there's no time to run to the kitchen or run to the restroom because I'm waiting to see the commercials. I'm waiting to see the halftime show.
I know. It is fantastic. And one commercial that I'm going to look forward to seeing, they're actually going to be bringing back the cast of Austin Powers. Rob Lowe is going to, number two is going to, number two. Who does number two? So it's going to be an Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, kind of thing. It's the boy is very astute. I am trying to kill him, although quite unsuccessfully. He's quite wily like his old man. That's going to be a GM commercial, so I'm looking forward to that with Rob Lowe, and the cast of Austin Powers are going to be part of that. That'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. And as far as prices, I don't get like why things have to cost so much, and that's why I brought it up. I mean, here's a perfect example. I went to Las Vegas to see, and I look at the Super Bowl as similar to going to Las Vegas, right? I went to see Lady Gaga in October, and I loved it. It was about $325 a ticket, which is not cheap. But it's Lady Gaga, and you're seeing a whole concert. I just feel like, looking at these prices, it's gotten a little out of control.
Oh,
We need to bring
definitely.
them down.
Yeah. Just so crazy expensive. But I will say that when we were playing Las Vegas, Gaga was coming in the week after, and
Oh,
I wanted to see her, and I would have paid 300 plus to see her. It would have hurt, but I would have paid
yes.
it because she was so
Well,
worth it. So I'm
well, funny,
jealous here.
yeah, funny story about that. So it was a friend's 50th birthday, and they wanted to go. I was like, oh, whatever they want to do. I didn't have any opinion. Gaga did a halftime show a few years ago, and I was like, yeah, she's good. She's very talented. But of course, with the halftime show, you lose a little bit, what she can do. So anyway, I got there and figured, oh, this will be a good time. Just relax, whatever. She started. It was all jazz, and they had the orchestra, and I was mesmerized how good she was, and she made me a fan. I watched her performance again when she did the Tony Bennett birthday. Did you see that?
Yes, I watched that. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, what a spectacular show.
yeah,
And Tony Bennett, I mean, oh my God, a legend, a treasure. He was incredible. And Gaga, I mean, she's spectacular. There are
yeah.
certain people, we're just lucky that we live during a time where we can experience these artists. The Beatles.
Yeah, exactly. You take for granted of the stuff that we actually have seen throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and today, and just the stuff that's going on. But I want to get into you because this is, let's face it, this is not about me. This is about you. We're going to talk about you today. And I'm so excited.
It should all be about you. This show is great. You are an amazing host. I love this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind comments, but I want to talk about this is, everybody, there was an Eddie Murphy routine one time that everybody's a frustrated singer. I think everybody's a frustrated singer and a frustrated actor, because I think most people would love to be in a TV show, in a movie, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and we can get into that coming up. But I wanted to get with you because, you did radio. We've all, you were great on the radio, and then you just decided that it was time to become an actress. And I give you props for this because it's not easy. And let's explain the kind of road that took to get there, because you really are in a place now where things are starting to work for you. And I'm really impressed. So talk about that.
Thank you. Well, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be an actress. And I went to Emerson College, and my parents insisted that I not pursue acting, but that I get a legitimate career. So I wound up graduating with a focus in broadcasting. And I worked for WGBH Radio in Boston. I came to New York. I worked for ABC Television. I worked for a lot of professional radio stations, WMCA, a lot of commercial stations in Jersey. I got into bluegrass and country music in non-commercial radio. And but I always wanted to be an actor. And I had moved on and worked in public relations and event planning while doing the radio. And it was my husband who saw me in a community theater show. And he said, this is what you're really good at. And he knows me as a musician because he's been a guest on my show and knew me through radio. But he said, you really have a gift for this. You should do this. And I was already, in halfway through my life, but I said, it is what I want to do. So I took a full-time job with Major League Baseball in order to go back to acting school. And I studied at the William Esper Studios, worked full-time during the day, studied at night, and on weekends did some off-Broadway films, local commercials while I was in school and working. It was hard, but then I graduated, and I've been working as a professional actress ever since, and it's worth it. So it's never too late to follow your dreams, and I encourage everybody out there, if you had something that you've always wanted to do it.
I agree. And I kind of told you a little bit off air that, I started this in April of 2020 just because I wanted something to do for me, right? This is great therapy to sit down and talk to people that I worked with over the course of the years. It's kind of like Jerry Seinfeld when he does the comedians in cars, getting coffee. This is all my friends and people. And I've had people on that weren't my friends growing up, or, they were just, acquaintances, but it's been great. It's a great conversation. It's good therapy. But I started on Easter Sunday, 2020, and this is the 97th episode of Len's Burning Bush. And I can't believe it's gone on for this many weeks. The good news is, unlike television and all these movies, I don't have to worry about getting canceled because I do it myself. So there's nobody else. This is it. I put it on, whether they like it or not. I'm going to keep doing it because it's fun for me.
Good for you. I wish you many, many years of success.
Thank you. Now talk about, you've got a potential TV show coming up, and I saw a little bit of a commercial that aired with you in it.
Yes,
I'm hoping to see you in it.
Yeah, as I said, I have my first national commercial. I'm represented by A3 Artist Agency and Bright Artist Management. And I just, for my own production company this past year, and produced a short film, which will be distributed this year. It's called Strawberries, and it's about Alzheimer's disease. And yeah, I'm just, auditioning, and I've come close, and hope that soon you'll see me on a network show or a major feature film, and we'll just, keep plugging along. But yeah.
I'm excited, and you're going to back on when you get the big TV show, because I'll be so excited that you get this. I'm looking forward to it. Now, explain to people, because everybody thinks, because everybody who's on a TV show or a movie, they all think how glamorous it is, but it is very hard work, and there's so many people behind the scenes that need to be thanked for this, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's so hard. I mean, I was just on set yesterday, and it was a 12-hour workday, and the crew was there much longer than me. And yeah, people don't realize how hard it is. I mean, as an actor, you're always working. You're always training. I take classes every day. I study scripts every day. I practice every day. You're always learning monologues. You're being coached. And when you have a part, it really takes a lot of work. And when you're on set in a television or film, it may take a few minutes to shoot the film, but it takes so long to set up the lights, set up the sound. There are hundreds of people on the set who are managing everything so that it looks beautiful on camera. And there are so many people, to be thanked. I mean, you should appreciate actors for the hours and hours of training that they've done, and all of the work that they've done to create the characters. But more so, there are thousands of unsung heroes on the cast, in the production crew, the casting offices, people that are doing all of the paperwork. There are so many people to be thanked that work so incredibly hard. Yeah, you have no idea what it takes to bring something to fruition.
We don't. And is there any, now that you've done this, is there a show that you watch now going, wow, I really give them a lot of credit because it's just so hard to do? Is there any shows that you watch now? You probably watch it in a little bit different way now.
I watch everything in a different way. I mean, I'm really focused, of course, on performances by all of the actors. Very impressed, but even just when you see something and you look and realize that somebody had to work at set location, or like be the location manager and find the place to film, to recreate that spot. Set design is an art in and of itself. You look at a home and it is so evocative of that character's personality and lifestyle, but that was a set designer who put all of those pieces together to make that kitchen look like it would belong to that person, to make that living room reflect all of their interests. Yeah, you absolutely watch everything in a different way. And I will commend HBO's Gilded Age, which is right now streaming. I love the Gilded Age. It happens to be a point in history that I've read quite a bit about. I visited a lot of the mansions. I know a lot of the historical references. And, to just see the artwork, the CGI magic of creating 1892 New York, 10 years after Central Park was just opened, just designed, to all of a sudden be in a world of costumes and corsets and ballrooms and mansions, that are of a time, and to be transported so beautifully. It's another level of appreciation. So, yeah, there's so many shows. Mrs. Maisel is going to
Can't wait for
start.
that.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Love being in the early 1960s, love that type of comedy. The script writing, we haven't even talked about, screenwriters and the writing staff in these rooms. Incredible. And that dialogue is so fast and is so, so sharp, so on point. It's like watching a ping pong match. Amazing. So that's direction, that's screenwriting, that's acting. Yeah.
It sounds like, because I've been watching a lot of shows recently, but Afterlife is one that I love with Ricky Gervais. And one of the things that I watch him, and I watched a lot of interviews after watching the show, and it's so good. It's so well done, all 3 seasons, right? But what he does is he actually gets the concept and writes it for someone in mind that he knows. He's gotten to the point where he's so good that he could actually think about who he's going to cast while he's writing the episode, or writing the script for that particular. And if you watch the show, they're all so good together in that. And it's got to be pretty hard to do that. And he's amazing. I mean, he can do anything. He's hosted the Golden Globes, and he said, 5 times he said he's done doing it, but if they asked him again, I bet you he would do it again.
Yeah, he's a genius. When I first watched that show, my brother had just lost his wife. He lost her to leukemia. And I almost couldn't watch it because it was just so painful and it was so raw. But thankfully I stayed with the show and went with Ricky Gervais, as my brother was going through his stages of grief. And it's so poignant, and it really just developed, and I came to love that show. And I've been a Ricky Gervais fan for years. I mean, He really is. He's incredible.
Well, sorry to your brother. That's awful. Prayers are out to the family. But watching the show, and I'll be honest. I mean, in an episode, you will laugh, you will get kind of a little bit annoyed, and you will cry, all in the same episode, because it's just everything, the emotions of that show, and the way I won't give anything away for people that haven't seen it. They could stream the 3 seasons on Netflix, but the last episode was brilliant, the way that went out. So anybody that hasn't seen that, did you get to see all 3 seasons, or have you not seen the third season?
No, I've not seen the final season yet, but
Okay.
we will. It's on our
it's tremendous
list. Correct.
Yeah, you got to give these shows a chance. Sometimes one show that I was thinking of that comes to mind that I probably would normally have not given a second chance on was Secession. Because if you watch it early on, you watch a couple episodes, you're like, this is hard to watch. And then finally, when you get into like episode 3, 4, and 5 in the first season, then it becomes something you can't stop watching. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? But that show's brilliant also.
Oh, that's
Secession on HBO.
brilliant. Yeah, and just from the first theme music, I'm already
Yeah,
it's on pins and needles. Yeah,
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
I love TV. I love TV. I love growing up. There was a show on HBO that was kind of like my childhood. It was called Dream On. It was about they had a kid in front of the TV. Martin Tupper was the name, and he would sit and watch TV, and then he later went on to do other things. But it was a kid watching TV, and that was me. I mean, I watched a lot of game shows, which was always a lot of fun. I'm a big Jeopardy fan. Are you a big Jeopardy fan as well?
I love Jeopardy. My
Yes,
husband teases me. He says it makes me a senior citizen, but I love Jeopardy. I love it. Yeah.
I love
I,
it.
I yeah. I was very,
There,
very heartbroken, as was the whole country when we lost Alex Trebek.
yes,
But
yeah.
you realize how long Jeopardy's been on and how much of my life, I never used to watch it regularly, but I have been watching it maybe since the pandemic, maybe because there wasn't something to do. And I'm based in New York, and some of my acting classes are based in LA. And I had to wait until they would start because they were starting on Pacific Coast, Pacific time, and I was East Coast time. So Jeopardy was at 7 here in New York, and it just happened that I started to watch it, and I really became enthralled with it again all during the
Yeah.
pandemic.
We record it every night and watch it whenever we can. We don't always watch it every night, but we catch up on the episodes. I watch it with my father-in-law, my wife. We love it. I can't get enough of it. Now they're apparently going to have what they call a second chance tournament for those that lost the first time to all these great champions that we've had on, between Amy and Matt Amodio and others that have been on and done a great job and won some money. But there's been people that lost to Matt Amodio, Jessica Stevens in particular, but she lost to Jonathan Fisher by $40 on that one show that Matt lost. And she had over 28,000 on that. So what they're going to do is they're going to take some of those people and they're going to bring them back in a second chance tournament. They don't have a date, but it's going to be sometime in the fall. They're going to air this, kind of interesting. I think they're going to do the
That's
tournament.
nice.
Yeah. So they're bringing the second chance tournament take place right before the show's annual Tournament of Champions in the fall. So I think that's a great idea. Why not?
I think that's a great idea. I like the Food Network also, and I like Chopped. My husband hates it, but I like the show, and they'll do that also. People that didn't make it to the finals, they have tournaments that when they get a second chance. So I think that's a great idea. Good for Jeopardy. I like that.
It's a good idea. We'll continue to watch it. I kind of like the idea with Ken Jennings hosting. I don't know. Mayim Bialik has been hosting as well, but I kind of like Ken. I think there's nobody better when it comes to knowing the game. Not that nothing against Mayim, because she does a great job and she's as smart as a whip. But I kind of like Ken. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Ken. Mayim is great. But Ken,
Yeah.
he's a Jeopardy champ and he's fantastic. I think he has such poise and such knowledge, and he keeps the game moving, and he's really wonderful in his response. And it's like he subtly encourages and yet is neutral to all of the contestants. He's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeopardy. I hope to make him the permanent guy because he's.
I hope so.
Fabulous.
I hope so. I think Alex would be looking down proud that Ken would be doing it as well. But Carol, it's been a pleasure going back a little bit down memory lane here, but getting the update on what you're doing. I'm so proud of you that you're acting and it's so hard. And I wish you nothing but the best on this. And when you get that show, you're going to come back on, right? We're going to talk about this again. But thank you so much for being on the show.
We're mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks to Carol Beaugard. I'm Len Harvey. We'll be back with another episode before that. But I want to remember I forgot. Look at this. I don't even know what I'm doing. Episode 97. I didn't even give out that you can like Len's Burning Bush on Facebook. And you can like it on Twitter at Lens Burning Bush. Make sure you follow along on that YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe, and also listen on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Make sure you ask Alexa to play Lens Burning Bush podcast. Make sure you say podcast, because I don't know what's going to come up if you don't. But it's on all the different platforms and all of that. But again, thank you, Carol, for doing this. I'm Len Harvey. Be back with another episode. We'll be back with another episode of Lens Burning Bush next week. So long.